honey. I want to plan a trip.
All right, let's go. Got my sketchbook right here.
We'll go from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Okay, I got it.
It'll take us 10 days.
Oh yeah, okay, yep. It's 10 spots.
In the middle of winter.
Okay, I got it.
A new place, a new home. For a while, let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back. Take my time, just enjoy the ride.
Welcome to Today is Our Adventure. I'm Mike.
And I'm Amy. And today, we are going to talk to you about the 5 top planning tips that we use to get us on the road.
All right, let's get this rolling. So let's start off with
Item number 5. What is it? So explain.
my item number 5 is a sketchbook, but any kind of paper and pen, pencil that you have. It's a great tool for writing down lists and planning out what you want to do next. Or if you have an idea, sketch it out for something to build, like a platform for your dogs to sit on. So I like it just because I like to have pen and paper, mainly because that's kind of where my teachings came from back in the old days. But I like to have a piece of pen and paper to draw stuff down on and write out my ideas and things I want to get done.
Very cool.
More places to go.
Absolutely. So my item number 5 is slap bands that have the different items that you need to remember, like the morning of. And especially, so the way our current situation is, we're not traveling necessarily every day back to back. We are traveling, and then we travel, and then we're somewhere for a little while, and then travel, and then we're somewhere for a while. So travel mornings, especially getting back into the routine, can kind of be like getting back on a bike for us. And, you know, those things that just become second nature when you've been on the trip, like day 5, are not second nature when you're on the trip day 1. So a couple days before we go on the actual trip, because we're starting to prepare, I'll go through and I'll make sure we put these like directly onto, we put them on our steering wheel. You can put them anywhere really, but they're the slap bands. And I've seen, like, this is the name brand because we bought these before. I saw one of the really cool hacks. I think Today is Someday actually shared just using the slap band. You can make your own. Like, this has some blanks as well, so if you want to write your own, but it's just important things to remember, like your slide outs, like your vents, making sure the exterior, like your awnings and doors, are all taken care of, removing your hookups, like all those things that you need to do the day of. Mm-hmm. And like I said, you can easily, these make it easy to just, we put them on our, oh, of course now I say it's easy to do. There we go. We put them on the steering wheel like this, and then as we do the items, we take them off and just they slide right in the driver's side door so that he can easily grab those again.
Yep. I like your item.
Thanks. Item number 4.
It's a laptop. My item number 4 is a laptop. Just like the pen and paper, we like to plan things out. So having a tool like a laptop, that especially if you can connect to the internet, you can plan out, get on your RV trip wizard, although she does most of that. It's still nice to be able to look up things like parks and things like that in places and be able to places you want to go and type them out, and definitely an important tool.
Okay, so my item number 4 is, and it looks like a lot of pills, but it's for planning and organizing all of our vitamins, our medications, our prescriptions before the trip. So like I said, our dogs are on some different medications and things like that as well. These are actually for them. You don't really think about that, and I know this didn't make our dog travel day survival items, but it's because it's part of my planning ahead of time. You can't get prescriptions for dogs as easily as you can for humans, especially depending on what they are. So you have to plan ahead, and I have one for each of our dogs. Actually, we have more than this, but this allows me to plan a month at a time, and that way I can make sure I have all their medications, and we're not going to run out of medication before we get to our destination. I also do the same thing for us humans, although the dogs is much more like elaborate looking. But I use these little plastic bags to put our vitamins in and our medicine in for the day of, because it's much easier to grab one of these, put it in our pocket, then we have it with us while we're traveling. We don't have to worry about trying to get into the RV on, like, if we forget, then we're not having to try to get into the RV and then trying to get into the, like, the cabinet where we keep them and all that kind of stuff while we're actually traveling. And it's important to make sure that you stay up on your vitamins and your prescriptions and stuff. So these are easy to carry with us. They're disposable as well. If you want to dispose of them, we typically just reuse them. But again, same thing for humans as it is for dogs. It's super important to make sure you have enough, not just for the current time, but to get you to your next destination. And, you know, that way you're not running out while you're on the road.
Make sure you put them in a plan ahead, because this is about planning. Plan ahead and put these in a spot that is accessible with the slides.
Right. Absolutely. That's been a tricky bit for us a couple times, but yeah, absolutely. And like I said too, it also makes sure you have enough for humans and for dogs to get you through whatever the length of time you're going to be traveling. Item number 3. All right, so I'll go first because mine's not a huge surprise, but this is, don't look too closely, but this is how I plan all of our meals. Like I said before, I plan all of our meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks when we're traveling or on the road for us and for the dogs. So I like to I start off with an Excel worksheet, and then I end up printing it and putting this directly, I got magnets, and I put it directly up on the refrigerator for us. So if Mike's helping me prepare the meals for the next day, or what do I need to get out for the next day, or that sort of thing, once we get to where we're going, he can help with that because he knows exactly what I've got planned. And also then I use this to transfer it into what do I need to shop for. So this kind of becomes my shopping list as well. So I use this and then I figure out what the ingredients are for each of the recipes that I'm going to be making or whatever I'm meal planning. And then I break it down into, okay, well, if I need ground beef for this, how many pounds of ground beef do I need? So I've got, ground beef for spaghetti, ground beef for, the stuffed peppers or whatever it is that I'm fixing. And I know when I go to the store, okay, I need 5 pounds of ground beef to get us, through the next 2 weeks, or I need, 2 pounds of chicken or whatever it is. And I just have my entire list. So it becomes really important for my menu planning. It moves right into my shopping and organization at the store because I have to do that usually within about 24 hours before we actually leave. So I have to have all that pre-planned, and that's quite a lot of food, even just for 2 people and 2 dogs. That's quite a lot of food to have when we go on like a 12-day cross-country kind of trip. So it's quite a bit of planning that goes into it.
So my item number 3 is probably going to be a bit of a surprise.
I'm excited. Show me.
Dice.
Dice? Okay.
Why dice?
Why dice?
Why dice, you ask? So in one of those events where Amy and I are pretty good at being able to work out where we want to go, but sometimes you just cannot work something out. So
no rock, paper, scissors for us.
Sometimes you just be like, bring out a list of stuff you want, like where you want to go, different places you were thinking of going, and then
roll the dice.
5, apparently.
We're going to go to... Well, actually, you have to be careful because there is a Fife, Washington.
Oh, there is a Fife, yeah, that's true. But yeah, some dice can help you make a decision. There's also various apps where you can even put out like lists in places that you want to go and it'll pick randomly. Like you want to go eat, I
was gonna say, like where we're going to eat for dinner sometimes can be even more roll of the dice than the actual like where we're going next. But yeah.
And I like the physical dice because the apps, and I'm not mentioning a specific one because we don't use them, because the apps could be a little bit like they'll pick the same thing over and over.
Yeah, they're not so random.
They're not as random.
Not as random as actual dice. Yeah. So
I think it's an interesting choice to have. They don't take up a lot of room, and you can make any number of combinations with like a set of game dice like these are.
Very good. Item number 2. So for me, it's the pre-made bags of dog food. I'm the meal planner. I'm a lot of the planner, like you said.
She's the snack queen for sure.
I am. If you've watched our video on traveling with dogs and the things you need for survival with fur babies, then you've already seen these. If not, check it out though. You can link it here or somewhere. But these, like I said, our dogs need prescription dog food, and whether they need prescription dog food or whether they need regular food, you want to make sure that you have enough, not only to get you from point A to point B, but also to get you a few days beyond so that you have time and you're not panicked on the other side. The way that I found that's best to make sure you have enough food to get you through is to pre-package their meals. That way you know for a fact you have enough. You can count the number of days you've got, and it makes it really easy on travel days to just grab their food and feed them, and it's all ready to go.
Yeah. I like yours. I like yours a lot. So my item number 2 is not really something I can show you, but it is also all around us. It's right here. It's the RV.
It's the RV?
Yeah, the RV.
How so?
It's so when planning, and I like I say, I'm more of the logistics guy, and I like to plan ahead and with everything that we do. But she is our major actual travel planner. I plan ahead the logistics and electronic stuff. So when planning out your purchase of your RV and your rig, I think it's very important that you also take into consideration the layout of your RV for travel days.
That's a good point. It's a really good point.
Because when we went to the Tacoma RV show, we went and looked at a lot of RVs. Not necessarily to purchase, but just to look at what the new RVs that were out there. Yeah. And you get there and you'll get inside the RV and you get the sparkle and the razzle and the dazzle. And you get to see all of the fancy features.
The music and the boom,
things like that.
Boom, 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 boom. You got the music going.
And you go in the back and you're like,
woo!
While they're dropping their sick beats, you go in the back and you're like, man, there's so much room, and the couches are so big, and I could just spread out everywhere. But then you think about it and you start to bring those slides in, because that's where all the slides are. You bring those slides in and you may not be able to get to the bathroom. And
that's really important. Yeah. That's a really important point. And I think so many people don't even take that into consideration. And sometimes not even the RV dealers take that into consideration, because they're selling the items, but they don't necessarily use them themselves.
Right. And a lot of them don't know. Like, we asked several, like, well, where does the slide come into? And they're like, I'm not sure. And then you're like, oh, it kind of seems like maybe here. So don't be afraid to ask when you're purchasing the RV to see the slides in. That way you can plan ahead, and you'll know, like, when you're going down the road and you get one of those, I think we've all been there, those emergency trips to the bathroom, and you pull off the side of the road on the freeway, that you're not going to have to pull a slide out just to use the restroom.
You're not going to be pulling a slide out to use the restroom on the side of the highway. That's just not safe. But not just the slide out, but that's a really good point. I mean, not just for the bathroom, but one of the other important things for us is the bed. Is the bed usable with the slides in? Because we do a lot of boondocking. We've had a lot of situations where we've traveled sometimes later because of circumstances on the road, things not going the way we planned, and we're pulling in somewhere late, pulling in hot, and we just need a place to sleep for a couple hours before we get back on the road. That's really huge, because common etiquette says,
like at Walmart, you do not want to pull your slides out in order to spend the night boondocking at Walmart. People can get a little annoyed at you if you do that.
Yeah, and it's also more dangerous too.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something to take into consideration. I mean, your needs are going to be very different if you're full-timing in your RV, boondocking, their needs are going to be different, or if you're just like a weekend warrior, you just want a place to go, camp and that sort of thing. So figure out what your priorities are, I think is what you're saying, and make sure that those things are accessible. Like, one of the things we did not take into consideration when we purchased this RV was the sink, the kitchen sink, and the refrigerator. And we have to move actually both slides, this one just a little bit, before we can get the refrigerator door open, which is important to us because we a lot of times do our grocery shopping at Walmart, and we boondock there a lot of times. And so sometimes we have to put the slide out, at least open a little bit, to get into the fridge and pack the stuff, into the groceries and things into the fridge. And that can not only be bad etiquette, it could also put you at more risk as well if you're in a parking lot and you're having to put your slides out. So it's a great point.
And everything goes into consideration too, because as she said, like when you go into Walmart, You got to put your groceries away. Like for us, we have to open the fridge. We have to pull the slide out a little to open the fridge and put the groceries away. And then you have to remember to lock the fridge again before you go out and put the slides in. And those are all things.
All those are steps, additional steps. Absolutely.
So take very careful consideration, because when you go out and you buy something like a fifth wheel toy hauler that you put your toys in, maybe all you're interested in is the toys. But you'll notice that a lot of those actually have bathrooms in the toy hauler section.
They do.
And there's a reason for that, and that is because there's a door back there, either the big one or usually a side door, that you can use the restroom in when it's going down the road, because the rest of the vehicle is so compact that the bathroom itself is blocked away from you when you open the door. So keep those things in mind, and
don't be afraid to ask them to pull the slides in so you can see what it looks like legitimately when it's closed up, because if you're full-timing long term, or if you are just, going down the road for the weekend or something, you need to know that what is important to you is easily accessible, and that's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah. And even motorhomers are not safe from this either, because we definitely walked in a couple where the slides went in so far that there pretty much was no way to get into even the restroom or anything really while you're traveling down the road in a motorhome. And a lot of motorhomers, it's pretty important to you to be able to get around there. So don't let the razzle dazzle shock you into buying something.
Shock and all.
Won't even let
Smoke
you
and
use
mirrors.
the bathroom on the side of the road.
Absolutely.
All right.
Item number 1. What's this? No, I'm curious.
Huh?
Do you want to go first?
I guess I'll go first.
Okay.
So, my item is your tow vehicle. So, it's important, as in, like I said, I'm kind of the logistics guy. So, when planning ahead, make sure that you purchase a tow vehicle that is the adequate size for your rig. Meaning, if you're going to pull like us, a 38-foot travel trailer.
It's a beast.
Yeah, it's a pretty big vehicle, and it's not a fifth wheel. So, we have to have a tow vehicle that is capable of pulling this. And so make sure that you don't just go for, the half-ton pickup truck, which is the cheapest option out there with none of the features on it, because it will impact you long term. And that's part of the other part of it. It's not so much, it's planning really far ahead, because when you're traveling 3 or 4 hours a day, sometimes up to 8 hours a day, or more in this vehicle that you're in, it's nice to have a vehicle that's comfortable.
You want the comfort. Like, you don't think about, it's, I don't really need the comfort. I don't need all the bling and this and that and all the options. But some of those really make a pretty big difference when you're in the vehicle for hours and hours a day.
Yeah, some people may throw shade at you for purchasing the higher end vehicle like the Denali or the I don't know what the Ford one is, King Ranch or whatever it is, the top end Ford, etc. But when you have things like a fuel gauge on there, that everybody has a fuel gauge, but not every vehicle may have a fuel range indicator.
The range indicator is really, really helpful, because you can also reset it for when you're towing, like you said before, and that makes a big difference as to your actual fuel consumption on the trip when you're towing versus not.
Exactly, and other things like tire pressure monitoring systems built into the rig, having the ability to add extra cameras, like the new GMCs I think have the ability to add up to like 12 cameras, I think, that you can put around your rig. Those things are all really nice to have. And
DEF indicators
that tell you more than just you have DEF, like how much is actually left.
And also like tire pressure. A lot of the newer vehicles have the tire pressure, especially the higher end ones, have the tire pressure monitoring systems already built in, and that can be very important and crucial when you're towing.
Yeah, and some of them will even hook up to the trailers. You can get tire pressure monitors for your trailers, so it's all one cohesive unit, and it's not something like I have 3 or 4 different devices from Amazon, which there's nothing wrong with that if you have to, but thinking about it ahead of time and not trying to go cheap with your tow vehicle. Again, you got to keep in mind, this is something that if you're a full-timer like us, that you're living in. Now, if you're not living in it full-time, maybe you can get away with a half-ton and a smaller trailer, but having...
The cheap comes out expensive, so just make sure you don't scrimp when it comes to the important stuff like your tow vehicle.
Yeah, so you got to think, if you scrimp, you scrimp, as Amy said, you scrimp on the tow vehicle and you go like really, especially I keep saying half-ton trucks, but a lot of people buy those because they're the cheapest. But your wear and tear on them is going to be twice as much as it would for a 3/4 ton or a full ton pickup truck.
Yeah.
So
Good
you
point.
gotta think ahead.
Good point. All right, so mine is RV Trip Wizard, and it's not a huge surprise probably, but they are not a sponsor yet. Maybe they will be, but I love RV Trip Wizard for all of our planning. We typically plan. I plan like everything. I plan in all of our stops. I plan in where we're going to fuel up. We were going to stop throughout the day. We typically, everybody's travel days look different. Ours are typically, we stop about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour in, just take a quick walk around the vehicle, make sure that everything is driving properly, towing properly, the tires are wearing, and all that kind of stuff like properly. And then we get back, like I said, that's a very short stop usually for us, and then we drive our longest distance usually, and then we stop for lunch. And that's, I say stop for lunch, it's at lunchtime, but that's where we do our long stop where we fill up, usually get our afternoon coffee, all that kind of stuff, walk the dogs. And so I want to make sure that's usually a Pilot or a Love's or a truck stop where we have room to do all of those things. It's got all of those needs that we may have, like DEF or that sort of thing. And all of that is accessible through RV Trip Wizard. And then we also have usually one last stop about an hour or so hour to an hour and a half before we get to our campsite. And this was new to us because usually we just want to get there, but this is actually new to us from watching Happily Ever Hanks. So
Thanks Hanks.
Thanks Hanks for this tip, but it's really, really helpful because especially when you're traveling with animals, they have to go to the bathroom, you have to go to the bathroom. It just takes all the stress level down a notch because you don't want to be stressing over that, having the dogs whine in your ear as you're trying to back into your campsite and that sort of thing. So having that last stop, like an hour to an hour and a half before you get to your campsite, is very helpful. So I plan all of that out for us on the RV Trip Wizard, as well as planning our campsites and finding those things. We were able to look at which ones offer discounts. But my favorite feature of the RV Trip Wizard is the fact that it has a smart driving radius, because we keep talking about the fuel range and how far you can drive. But this one isn't just like the regular circle that you see on a lot of apps. It actually is a smart range. You put in all of your information, all of your data for your tow vehicle, as well as for your travel trailer, and it routes all of that based off of the information you input, and it will tell you how far you can go before you have to fill up, and then you can export this to your GPS. So if you haven't seen our previous video about travel days and the GPS we use, you can check out that link here or wherever we put it. But we can actually download the information, the travel route from, and all the stops from this to that GPS. So that's really helpful.
Yeah. One more thing I wanted to say about like your tow vehicle, I didn't want to exclude the people who ride around in the motorhomes and live in motorhomes, is that your, I believe they call them dinghies, I think.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not sure the vehicle you tow behind your motorhome, I think it's called dinghy. You also want to plan ahead, because I've done that before, and having back in my early days of RVing, and you want to make sure that your dinghy is capable of being pulled behind your rig, whether it be flat towing
or a dolly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think the Today is Someday did a video on that. So check that out and make sure that you get a rig that your whole rig is capable of going down the road and comfortable for you, because especially for like you have a dinghy, it's your lifeline for going out in town.
Yep.
Without taking your whole motorhome and trying to pull a motorhome through a Starbucks drive-through isn't going to happen.
No, not like we've tried that before.
No.
Not in a motorhome, but
Hashtag Starbucks drive-throughs clearance is 8 feet.
8 feet. 8 to 8.5 feet. Not usually tall enough.
No, yeah. Sometimes you get a 9 foot. Then that's when we're happy because we can pull in there with a truck. But
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us today and for listening to our top 5 planning tools. We would love to hear your comments and feedback. What do you have on your top 5 tools? Let us know in the comments. Let us know if we missed something, or if you have something that's a little bit newer, or something we haven't heard of. We'd love to learn from you as well. And also, make sure to like and subscribe. We want to make sure that you get all of our new videos as they come out, and that's a way of helping support us. If you'd like another way to help support us, I've got such exciting news to share with you today. we have a book. This is our RV trailer maintenance journal, and we cover everything, guys. We have everything in here from oil changes to lubricating your slides, sealing your skylights, cleaning your air filters, sanitizing your water tank, and look, it even has columns that you can keep your track of your cost, the date you did it, even the location, or notes if you want to add notes. So whatever your maintenance needs are, we have you covered. But if you say, Amy, I'm a little sad because I have a motorhome. But wait, there's more! We have one book for you as well for motorhome maintenance. So check us out on Amazon. You can find either of our books under Today Is Our Adventure on Amazon.com. It's a way of supporting our channel and keeping track of your maintenance.
And you can turn it over if you trade in to or upgrade your vehicle. You can trade it in with the vehicle so that you're not trying to transfer apps to a dealer or something like that. That doesn't typically work out. So this is a great way to put it in your glove box or inside of one of the cabinets of the RV, and that way when the new owner takes it, they know what you guys did to help maintain your RV.
Right, so it can actually help increase the value or the trade-in value of your vehicle as you're trying to trade in or buy new, and it's a great way just for you to help keep things organized, keep things, plan out what you need to do, keep things organized, and know what you've done. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Join us next time. Bye for now.